we're buying airplanes.
Yeah.
And everybody said, congratulations, you bought an airplane.
Yeah.
And I was always, yes, but.
Yeah.
And everything before but is bullshit, but the but should not be there in my case.
Yeah.
But saying, yes, I bought an airplane.
Cool.
But it also means you have a challenge. You need to be taken to bar. You need to recertify those components. You need to find buyers for all that stuff that then follows is also important. But at that moment, I needed to enjoy that success.
Welcome to another episode of Love Not Fear. This time it's time for a guest edition again. In the studio with me is Derk-Jan van Heerden, a remarkable entrepreneur with a remarkable story to tell. Derk-Jan and I met a couple of years ago, midst COVID, where we both, as a sort of funny gig, did a DJing course. And after 3 nights, 3 out of 6, Derk disappeared from the radar and I lost track of him. And Derk popped up last year and he shared a remarkable story. Derk-Jan, please join.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Derk-Jan has your business is quite incredible. Your business is called Aircraft End of Life Solutions.
AELS, yes.
AELS.
The name of the company.
And to me it sounds like you buy aircrafts and you take them apart.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. It's not that many people that buy aircrafts to demolish them.
We're one of the few, yes. Yeah. And we're definitely one of the only ones that do the disassembly ourselves. So it's not only buying the airplanes and then letting somebody else do the actual work. We have our own team that disassemble the airplanes and remove the parts and make sure that those can be reused again. It's
a pretty powerful entrance when you come up. When we met, you said, I bought my first Boeing. But that was pretty cool.
That one was the Boeing 777 to be exact. That was the first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you didn't buy it for the scrap price, not for the metal price. Because you need it for the things you can harvest.
No, correct. The industry is about reuse of components. The revenue of the remaining metals is very limited.
Okay. And is that, how did you get into it and when was this?
I graduated aerospace engineering at the Technical University in Delft.
Yep.
And then was the opportunity to get an additional signature on your document that you are a sustainable engineer.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted. And then I asked the question, how are aircraft recycled? Because one of the main issues is then the amount of noise or the fuel being consumed. And they said, we don't know. So I was one of the first students to ever do that type of work. And at the end of my work, I also got some push by my professor to start a company that's actually doing that.
So you started out under the wings of the university?
Correct. Yeah. No, so my end report also had a startup company designed as in we're going to disassemble airplanes for the owners and make sure that they get a good solution.
And how long from that moment you graduated until buying this Boeing 777 triple?
That is almost 17 years after
17
my
years.
Graduation. Yeah.
Okay. So, and your clients are all over the world, I guess.
Yes, so the majority is selling the parts to people who want to use those components to keep flying their aircraft.
Yeah.
And everywhere airplanes fly, they have the requirement every now and then for a replacement part because something isn't working anymore.
Okay. So now you were there in Lelystad Airport when this big, what was it, Virgin Boeing flew there for their last flight.
Recently?
No, wasn't that this last aircraft you bought?
It was Twente Airport.
The Twente Airport, okay.
Yeah, no, that was a 777 that flew in from Australia.
Yeah.
And long story there as well, if you want to, but it was a challenging project to get the airplane to that airport.
Yeah.
But we're lucky enough we got it worked out together with engine partners and other friends that made it work.
Wow.
It was fantastic. But I wasn't there when it arrived, unfortunately.
Now, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Why weren't you there when it arrived?
I thought I had a burnout. So that's the moment when a few weeks before the aircraft finally arrived, I was confronted with some issues. And my doctor told me that you have a burnout, so take a distance from your company. Yeah. That's why I left, took steps backwards and let the team do the perfect work they were already doing, but no longer with my support.
But I guess it wasn't a burnout.
Eventually, after a few months, I learned it was the burnout, but I have cancer in my brain, to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called glioblastoma. Sorry.
Okay.
And it sucks big time. I can tell you that.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why you fit in as the perfect guest for Love Not Fear, because this is a pivotal moment where everything that was rock solid is now liquid, and you have to reinvent yourself, and everything that's important isn't anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, stuff are changing. Things are moving.
Yeah.
And life all of a sudden gets other attention.
Yeah.
And things that were minor are now big, and things that were big are now minor.
And it's kind of a big pill to swallow at once. Was it given to you like, okay, this is the verdict, and boom, that's it? Or was it? Did you find out gradually?
No. So I had the burnout idea. I had an appointment with some friends, but I said I can't go now because I don't feel as good.
Yeah.
Then I went shopping, and when I walking back home, I don't recall what happened, but somebody saw me walking around a little bit different.
Yeah.
And they called an ambulance. They took me to the hospital.
Yeah.
They did the analysis, and then they determined that there was cancer in my brain.
Okay. Then you're there. You sit at home. Then what? I guess all the stages of grief pass. First denial. Then what happens when you hear that?
So in my case, it was a cold shower, because it wasn't only you have cancer, but also the type of cancer.
Yeah.
And that is that there is no solution.
Yeah.
The only thing they can do is remove it once, maybe a second time.
Yeah.
And it will go back. And
Yeah.
the question is when.
Yeah.
And we're going to throw some chemical and some radiation on it in the hope to make it as small as possible to prevent it from growing. Yeah. But in the meantime, it's guaranteed. And then there is an average of how many months you have.
Yeah.
And I'm getting close to the average now.
I have a very inappropriate joke I can make. So it's from aircraft end of life solution, it's to Derk-Jan end of life solution. That's basically the journey we're talking about.
Exactly.
It's quite bitter, but this is the case, right? So what happened then? Of course, you were not able to run your company anymore. You have left the company, and this was your brainchild. And
well, I'm still. I wanted to help the company, and I'm still trying to do that. But I took distance as well, because I want the team to get used to me not being there anymore.
Right.
Instead of being gone all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of what they're doing and how the company is going now. But yeah, I still have a lot of time, and I wanted to do stuff. And I was single. I am single. I don't have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I also don't have kids.
Yeah.
So that gives me also time to do other stuff, and that's why I started AELS.
Yeah.
Just to fill my time that is left. But to be clear, my priority now is having fun with friends and family.
AELS is your foundation. Yeah. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, but I'm curious what goes on. What does that look like when you have to reprioritize everything in life, and everything that seemed sure isn't anymore, and I think fake becomes very fake and real becomes very real.
Yeah, the thing is that all of a sudden I was an engineer. So I was used to think about plans that take time. So in 10 years, we want to be there. So that means in 5 years, we're going to do that. And this year, we're going to do that. And that means this quarter, we're going to do that. But I don't have the time left to think about a long time anymore, because it doesn't make any sense. So I now need to think about only what I want to do today. Yeah. What's the fun I can have. Yeah. And that is the priority. Yeah. Every now and then I think about a week, but I'm not thinking about what am I going to do next winter. Or something like that. That's no. I'm not thinking about that.
Okay, and how does this transition go for you? I mean, being an engineer and a planner, was this? Yeah, it's out of necessity, but I guess, yeah. Do you often forget your condition?
No.
No.
No, I can't let go.
No. Okay.
So because of the surgery I had, there's also continuously some feeling in my body that isn't what it used to be. Yeah. I might get used to it a little bit, so it feels less. Yeah. But continuously something might happen, and then I'm always scared that it's because it's growing again. Yeah. I can let it go now better than a few months ago, but it still sucks big time. Yeah. But I'm just as mentioned, trying to have fun. That's also why I'm here, I guess. Talking to you. Yeah.
That's. I mean, you are 44.
44 exactly. Yeah.
44.
Yeah.
And at age 44, let's say you have 20,000 weeks normally in a normal expectancy. And if somebody tells you that's not 20,000, but it's 50 or 60, that is that's quite something. So to adjust to that, how do you shed ballast? How do you move away from things that are not important anymore?
Oh, I think the same things are important. Only this time I'm pulling things forward that were, I was saying, I'm gonna now work on my company because that is a priority.
Yeah.
I will see you next week.
Yeah.
Or I can't go skiing with you this year. We go skiing next year.
Yeah, it's
those things I don't do anymore. Everything I try to do now.
Yeah.
And also when I just got started with the illness, I was making a heavy schedule. I was having fun with everybody that I know.
Yeah.
We went for lunch, for dinner, or parties where possible, because I also had limitations with energy, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Because in total, the whole treatment took 7-8 months.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy now that I'm now almost 5 months.
But it's not that your moral compass is totally shifted. No, you zoom in on enjoying the moment more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can also see it as a change, as the focus is now is different. But I still want to do something for aviation and have fun, because for me, working in aviation is one of my biggest hobbies. Working for me doesn't feel like a punishment, and not working as a reward. For me, it's one big picture of having fun, doing stuff. Yeah.
And then you're at least on the good cause. It sounds like ikigai, and then what you're good at, what the world needs. So that's a good place to be. But this we have to address this big topic that you have limited choices. So everything, to me, I could also feel that there's a period where you don't make any choices because you're like deers in the headlights. You're like stuck. Okay, what is it? Did you encounter that moment, or was it very brief? When did you come to terms? How fast did you come to terms with this?
Accepting that it's the end nearby.
Yeah.
I think that's because I'm an engineer. I'm used to that certain things it is what it is.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any issues figuring out what I had. They already knew it.
Yeah.
The first night I woke up in the hospital.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any. There was no doubt.
Yeah.
It is what it was.
Yeah.
It is what it is, to be honest. And I just moved myself.
Yeah.
And yes, I was a lot confronted. I felt a lot of lost. I every time I met somebody, a friend, I started crying.
Yeah.
So over time, I got used to it.
Yeah.
So that changed. But in the meantime, life is what it is, and I'm just trying to have as much fun as possible.
Yeah. And how did these friends and people close to you, how did they react? How did they cope with it? Was that hard?
Well, of course, there are your close family and friends. Some of them were also still struggling with it. They also feel the pain. Yeah. But I told them, let's have fun. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do. Yeah. And we're successful in that as well. I'm having a lot of fun.
Congratulations. And it's a sign of acceptance and growth, and realizing that why waste all the time on grieving? There's time for that later. Yeah. Okay.
And this might happen again, right? Because currently the disease is not growing. At least I'm hoping it's not growing. I have a check every 3 months, so I'm gonna have the next one in a month from now. But then there will be news that it's growing again. Yeah. And that might change me as well again. Yeah. Okay, now I'm in my last period, and that might also be pushing me to do certain things different than I'm doing now, as in that foundation point. Okay, now it's going to move away. Now the only thing I'm going to do is hang around with friends and family. Okay. And eventually maybe only with my brother and my father, for example. So, but let's see how that helps. Yeah.
You changed from being a CEO of the company into starting a foundation. Yeah. And what is the root cause of the foundation? What does the foundation want to do?
So I started Aircraft End of Life Solutions in 2006 because of two reasons. One was that I expected aircraft to become end of life in Europe. There used to be a tradition to airplanes to be donated or sold to airlines in South America or Africa. And then they use those airplanes. But I was expecting that it would change because they will stop. Basically, those countries will also buy new airplanes.
Right.
But also because of the more professionalization of companies, no longer government owned, would result in them flying those airplanes until they're done.
Yeah.
And I was right on that one. That happened. The second reason why I started the company was that I expected the aircraft owners to also be focusing on finding sustainable solutions.
Right.
Because the European vibe is as well to do it more decent.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't really happen. So they are just focusing on the best price.
Yeah.
And if you are recycling better than somebody else, then you get less money for it, or you need to pay more money for it, depending on what your model is.
It looks nice in the yearly report, but in truth,
exactly,
nobody is going to choose your company over another company because of your sustainability.
Because if you, I'm sorry, you're going to get less money for the airplane because I will do a better recycling job.
Yeah.
And that's why I started the foundation, because I want to find solutions that are financially similar but better, and or at least help people that are selling airplanes that they stop flying are realizing that if I sell it to that company or I sell it to that company, I need to look at what they do with the stuff that can be reused.
So is the purpose of the foundation bridging the gap between the two price points, the budget demolisher and you're taking it apart to be reused and recycled?
No, the challenge is to build a bridge between the research groups and the aircraft owners.
So they can find each other better, more knowledge
because
shared.
The research that's currently being done is mainly focusing on the new airplane.
Okay.
And if you now start thinking about the new airplane needs to be better recyclable before it is designed, certified, built, that takes 15, 20 years. And then before the first one is disassembled, we're talking about another 20 years, so 40, 50 years from now, before that design alternative is going to benefit the recycling of.
Yeah. So it's the trend that you see in most industries with the end of life in mind, try to rethink the design in the first place.
Well, that is happening now more and more.
Yeah.
Aviation, there are other priorities, as in fuel consumption also needs to be very low, which is also environmental. Safety is extremely important, obviously, because airplanes used to be flying safe. And then, but this is one of the subjects that nobody ever looked at. And let's include as well that the airplanes that we are not disassembling were built 20, 25 years ago, and the design is already old. So we're looking at stuff that was designed 40, 50 years ago. And there's a lot of extra new knowledge about stuff that then was normal and these days are considered to be risky.
Do you want this to be your legacy? Is this something that you want to be remembered by? This foundation that you are taking the initiative of making this work?
It's not a must. No, it's not about me. It's more about doing something that the world will help forward. Yeah. And in the meantime, I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah. And you have an advantage. You know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's why I'm hoping that the foundation will get funding, and the funding will be from me as well, because I sold my shares in AELS, and I don't have any kids, and I don't have any. I don't have a partner. Yeah. So as a result, that money needs to go somewhere. And that's why I decided to do this. A combination, for one side, the fun for me to work on it, and on the other side, maybe help the world a small step forward, because it's not going to be a big step, but it's...
Now, how do you combine building a foundation with this extremely short span where you plan your...
Priority one is having fun.
Okay.
With friends and family. And the rest is just for time.
You don't need a foundation for that.
Well, of course, I used to own a company, so I'm used to work a lot.
Yeah.
And,
it never felt like work.
Sitting doing nothing. Exactly that as well, but also doing nothing, that doesn't work for me. So I just want to do something with the time that is available.
Have you ever used your condition to get access to people or to get things done?
That's why I'm here.
I asked you. You did ask me. So you did ask for a platform.
True. No, but I am now starting. I made a few movies, and I'm misusing my health issue in the hope
if it's for a good purpose, then it's using, and you should.
And I think it's important. It's important that people that are actively involved in doing something with airplanes, and everybody's talking about, we've got a new airplane, but what are you doing with the old one? And yes, a lot of components can be reused, which is amazing, and that's also something that other industries are jealous about. But if you look around, if we as an industry look at other industries like the cars or ship industry, the way they recycle the remaining materials, they are way ahead of where aviation is at the moment.
Really? Because I thought that the materials are pretty precious, so nothing goes to waste. At least it is remelted, the aluminum. And
So basically it's now being downcycled.
Okay.
So it's impossible to melt the aluminum from an aircraft and turn it into a part that can be used to make new airplanes.
Okay.
And that has to do with different alloys that are attached, as well with the OEMs demanding that it's virgin new material instead of recycled material.
Yeah.
So there are different elements there, and also depends on the aircraft type and the model and exact materials. So there's a lot of variables there that are influencing this.
Would you fly an airplane that was made of 100% recycled materials? Are you that confident that it's...
If I can make that point in time, then I will feel very special.
Okay, that would be cool.
Yeah, it would be very cool.
So in terms of having bare fun, just the fun part, did you indeed create a bucket list of things you want to...
That's a good question. I never made one. Because for me, it's very simple. The fun I want to have is with friends and family, and I don't care what I do with them. I'm caring that I do it with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going on vacation if possible, if my friends and family has time. I go to concerts. So yeah, that is having fun.
But it's not like you are restless because you got to tick this box and that box, and no, it's taking.
No, I don't have any of those lists.
Yeah.
I'm still. I tried it several times.
Yeah.
But then I came up with one idea and then I do it.
I think it's a bucket list. And how terrible would it be to finish your bucket list?
Well,
to me, it sounds like a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you're saying that.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. And there are always a few things that you might consider that you want to do, but you can't do it anymore. And that's also scary. So maybe that's also one of the reasons I'm blocking it.
And with friends and family, are you having different conversations?
Yes.
I can remember. I think if I was preparing for this and I was thinking, what would I do? And the first thing that came to mind is to reach out to a few people that I have unsettled business with, conversations I never had. Did you go through a phase like that?
Talking to people that I never talked to before.
Yeah, or in a different way. So I don't like this shallowness, or that we haven't mentioned the elephant in the room, or just finish conversations that might be lingering for even decades.
I have a few conversations with people that are now raising because there were stuff that were stuffed away, not discussed, and that I now want to clean up.
Yeah.
So that is indeed happening. But I'm guessing I had an okay life, and or I was already good in not letting stuff staying. So I already had conversations about that. But yeah, there are still some debates here and there. But nothing. Yeah, no. I'm used to say nothing is 100% bad, nothing is 100% good. There's always a balance there.
Okay. So you think it also mellowed you a little bit?
Oh yes.
So if let's say in traffic, if you 3 years ago, if somebody would cut you off in traffic, you might swear a little bit. Do you respond to that differently now?
I'm not allowed to drive a car anymore, but I'm thinking that that's my character. Was already my character.
Yeah.
And one of my things I always do is when I have a fight with somebody, one of the first things I do is, if I were you, I might have said the same thing. So I understand why you're saying what you're saying, but I'm also going to explain you what I am thinking and why I am there. And that my experience is that was always helping the issues we had amongst each other as well. As in, okay, I understand where you come from, you understand where I come from. How are we going to solve it? Yeah. Because a lot of fights are glass half full versus half empty. Basically, you're looking at the same thing, but you just give it a different name.
So that didn't change. Your personality is basically still the same.
I guess so. Yeah. The brain damage did result in me being I'm missing a few brain activities.
Okay.
Not a lot of people say that they notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, there could have been a chance that if the cancer was somewhere else in my brain, that I would have changed from a relaxed guy to an aggressive guy, or the other way around.
Horrible. You hear those stories.
In my case, it seems to be stable.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it will stay stable as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to become a guy that everybody starts hating.
So when I learned your news, that was at an event where you were one of the speakers, and you shared it out of the blue with, I think, 6 or 7 people in the audience of 110 new, and then you gave a speech. You guys know me. This is what's happening. That was shocking for a lot of people, including myself. But I thought I could see it being therapeutic.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we spoke later, and you were so much released about about sharing this, and that it's known. And I think, did you feel an urge to get that over with? That you want to do the Derk-Jan 2.0? This is him. And the other one, people should know and get up to speed, so you don't have to. You're not surprised with people asking questions about.
So one thing is, I on purpose am spreading what I have, so that if I see somebody, that I can automatically have a conversation to the next level, not the how are you doing, and then repeat the story. That's why I'm spreading that very wide. The other question is, I'm not sure. I think that one of the reasons is that I am a character that's very open. I'm used to sharing everything with everybody. And I feel okay with that. I know with the doctors and the psychologists I've spoken about my disease, there are different ways of doing it. There are also people who have it, they share it with nobody because they don't want everybody to know, because they want to make sure that everything stays the same way it was.
That doesn't work.
That's not my choice. I definitely can understand that people choose that and not tell. Keep secrets. That's normal.
And did you get courage, like a fuck it all attitude to do things that are more bold that you would normally not have done?
I've done drugs for the first time in my life. Ecstasy and together with my forum. And also, but yes, a little bit, not too much. And I was blowing a joint recently. That's it. And I must say, it doesn't add anything to me. No. I don't consider it fun.
No, it's not taking risks on your side, but maybe more, bolder conversation, or trying to move the needle on some topic that's near to your heart. And I don't know. Never mind. Yeah, I think you're still the same guy. And,
I'm hoping, that you don't experience it yourself. There are a few people that say that I'm different, but that is also because I'm not working anymore, because I have more time. So being available for friends and family, they were used to maybe see me once a year, and now they see me once every so many weeks or months.
Here he is again.
That's the other opposite. That might happen as well.
Okay. I think they're glad to see you. Yeah, and what else? What did you do health-wise? Did you make any changes, or do you have? This is something you didn't call it upon you. This is not a health. This is not a health issue that was inflicted by having bad habits. So this is just bad luck, right?
They have no idea where it comes from. It's completely random.
Yeah. And it didn't. So if you could go back in time and change any pattern, what would that be?
They don't know. So yes, I might have had too much of this or less of that. Nobody knows what the correlation is between the cancer in my brain and what you've done before that. It is what it is. And one of the doctors actually said to me, try to have as much fun as possible. There is also no solution known, as it is also not, don't eat this anymore, or do drink that, or yes, I have some medicine.
That's also,
but it's very limited.
And didn't they give you placebo and say, okay, eat this Mentos every day and it'll extend your life? That would be so nice to put some trust in that. I mean, it's that honest of them to say it, but it's also a bit harsh.
It might also be the Dutch way. For example, I have a friend who shared with me another country where people had 3 or 4 times surgery where each time they remove the cancer in your brain.
Right.
And from my doctor in the Netherlands, I understand maybe they do it a second time.
Yeah.
They never do a third or fourth time.
Was that because, is it that a cost issue? Is it that a time issue? Is it like it's useless, or?
The surgery in your brain will not be without any side effect.
Yeah.
Because they will also hit your brain and potentially can damage to something.
Yeah, mobility or anything.
As in, all of a sudden you can't speak anymore, or your eyes won't work anymore.
Yeah.
Whatever those side effects. So they haven't offered anything yet. If it starts growing again, let's hope it takes a long time.
Yeah.
But if it does happen, then there will be a discussion. They will look how it is growing, if they can remove it maybe again. But if it comes back relatively quickly, they won't do a surgery again anyway.
Yeah. I want to circle back to AELS. I spoke to a few entrepreneurs that after selling or quitting their business, changed their pattern. And I was wondering, how much identity did this being a business owner give you? Did you have to get adjusted to not only in time, but also was there status involved?
What do you mean that for me the job was?
Was being a CEO of the company giving you a sort of status or access or credibility, or I don't know?
Probably it did, but that is not the way I think about what I want to do. Now I want to have fun as well, but back then I also already wanted to have fun, and I wanted to do something that makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing it for me to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I wasn't doing it to be a cool person that owns a company. No, I wanted to already back then help the world recycle airplanes a little bit better.
Yeah.
And yes, there are bigger problems and that are way more important, but there are also small things that we need to do smarter and better. And that's why I started the company and did a graduation on the subject as well.
Okay.
Because recycling airplanes is also an important thing, just like recycling everything, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can't leave them in your backyard. It's
they're pretty big.
Looks pretty messy. So let's say a ferry comes around and takes this tumor out, and you're perfectly fine. What wouldn't you go back to? Is there anything that you said, okay, now I found out that this is not important at all, or?
I think I will focus more on balance. That was already happening during my burnout phase.
Yeah.
But I was a 50, 60 hours a week working guy.
Yeah.
And always turned on. And every time somebody called for business, then it got a priority instead of having fun with friends and family, going on a vacation. I have no idea how this life is like to go on vacation, obviously.
Okay.
So I think that balance will be more what other people call normal, but in my case, I would consider.
And you still would still be the same effective. So if you make harsh choices in what is it that you do and what can somebody else do or it shouldn't be done at all.
Yeah.
So I think you could accomplish the same, but making better choices.
Correct. That would then be my challenge to figure out to let go more stuff, let other people do it, and maybe hire some extra people. Just and that might also be the secret that my company needed. I was at a 25, 30 people team, which is also entrepreneurship-wise one of those hurdles you're taking.
Yeah.
I would definitely. Basically, my plan was during my burnout phase already to step out of the responsibility for daily issues and only focus on mid and long-term challenges.
Have you ever considered coaching? I think you would make an excellent coach.
Well, if you're a manager, you're also a coach, right?
Yeah, no, but you have a bit of time, you have knowledge.
Now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why don't you be an accelerator coach or a startup coach?
That's a good question. Never thought about it. My main reason is to have fun with friends and family. And
it is a lot of fun.
And the side tag is starting that foundation.
Okay.
And that combined is already a full agenda. So basically,
there's no time.
Exactly. I need to sleep more, and so there are other side effects of the cancer I have. But
is there anything you want to tell the audience? The audience, by the way, is mostly entrepreneurs. that take some time in their life to reflect on things. So maybe the first 10 years of just go have gone by, and now they're reprioritizing. That's why I asked you.
I guess that's also my story. The only reason is maybe unlucky.
Yeah.
I think every time you start a company, or when you start a company, then there is always extra time being consumed.
Yeah.
And the challenge is to teach yourself or to be aware of the success you have scored.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my things was I was always already looking at the next challenge.
Yeah.
The next challenge.
So never celebrate, smell the roses.
One of the famous things is we're buying airplanes.
Yeah.
And everybody said, "Congratulations, you bought an airplane."
Yeah.
And I was always, "Yes, but."
Yeah.
And everything before "but" is bullshit, but the "but" should not be there in my case.
Yeah.
But saying, "Yes, I bought an airplane."
Cool.
But it also means you have a challenge. You need to be taken the bar. You need to recertify those components. You need to find buyers for all that stuff that then follows is also important. But at that moment, I needed to enjoy that success and celebrate it. And I wish I was better at that.
So our podcast title is Love Not Fear, as you know. And the idea behind Love Not Fear is that in life you're either driven by fear, you let fear control your life, you don't want things to happen, or you go after what is out there and adopt a lifestyle and a readiness for life and I think a curiosity. So your story very much resonates with this philosophy. So what is fear in for you? What does that mean?
Well, fear is fear. It's just being afraid of things that might happen. But I would say that I always look at. I'm a guy that everything glass is half full. And
yep.
People who are worried are the glass half empty.
Yep.
And yes, I have now a disease, so maybe my glass is a quarter full or maybe 10% full, but it's still a little bit of. There's still water and there's still something to drink.
Yep.
And that's why I'm having fun. That's why I find it way more important to focus on that. And yes, I'm agreeing that you also need to look at the other side and all things that might happen, but it's about the balance. And I'm just trying to. My glass is half full. So
yeah. By making we spoke about that basically you haven't changed that much. You're not living a total different life, but you're not running on autopilot anymore. You're making more conscious choices.
I let go of work, and that gives me extra time and fun.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I'm also now more thinking about what is fun instead of that needs to happen because otherwise then this might happen. That's not having fun. That's all about what I'm trying to do.
Strong message. Okay, I think that's a perfect ending to this episode. Thank you very much for being a guest on the show. And if you have anybody that you think would make a great guest for Love Not Fear, please let me know in the comments and hope to see you next time.